Hi, this is Leighton Jin. I'm the Director of Development for the American Documentary and Animation Film Festival. We're going to have our 14th annual event on March 27th through 31st at the Palm Springs Cultural Center. And today I have a very special guest, Kelly Schwarze, and he is coming to us with his second film, animated film. It's Empathy Unknown. Kelly, first of all, welcome back. We're
Oh,
excited to
thank
have you back.
Oh, I'm excited to be back. Are you kidding me? This is like, I mean, the first time I was just happy the first time to go to AmDocs, and the fact that I have my second, short animated film in there is really such a privilege.
You're a veteran of this. Tell me about Empathy Unknown and how you came up with the film, what it's about. Let's start. How did you come up with this concept?
Well, Empathy Unknown is about a space explorer who thinks he's colonizing a planet, and he gets there to realize that he's not alone, and it's really a struggle of survival. And these two characters that are, enemies may have to work together to survive a common enemy. And it really came to me right when Ukraine was invaded by Russia. It was
Oh,
something that I remember watching that whole thing unfolding on television, and it really, I mean, it was just the thought that you have people that are so similar in their cultures, their values, their language, that could be now at war with each other. It's just such a silly thing. I mean, war is silly regardless of how you look at it, but we're all humans, and I wanted to kind of put something together that's kind of fun, but also to kind of make the point, and the point being that at the end of the day, it's we're all the same people, and there's common existential things that we should probably be working on together as opposed to fighting each other.
and I love the title. How did you come up with the title? And it seems like a title. The title itself makes me think, oh, that applies to today. Can you talk about how you came up with the title?
Yeah, I mean, so well, of course, empathy is the idea of like having an empathy for another person despite their circumstances. So I think in a lot of ways, what I wanted to do is showcase that title and the fact that it's unknown. Sometimes we have this kind of program and it has no empathy for other people. And it was kind of a funny title for me, the fact that we're almost like running, some of us, whether you're, regardless of where you are in the world, we tend to like look at things as kind of, oh, that's somebody else's problem. That's not me. That's not in my neighborhood. That's not in my country. Um, but it's like have empathy. And where there is no empathy, hopefully we find it, we discover it.
Well, that's beautiful. This is I'm really looking forward to it. Um, and then uh, what did you learn from your first animation that you applied to this one?
Wow. Every animation has a whole new set of challenges. And in this particular one, I think it was a matter of just trying to figure out my workflow. And my workflow has evolved over the course of the last, two projects. And I think for me, it's just about understanding how to tell better stories with this kind of medium.
And then, one topic that we I don't know if you and I touched on it, I might have touched on with some other animators, was AI. Was AI a part of the workflow for this?
No, I didn't use any AI other than whatever like the motion capture software that we use for just body movement and things like that. But everything was composited, in a 3D engine. Like I used Unreal Engine and Blender, and from that point, I was able to compose my scenes and work in a way that kind of helped me tell the story as if I were shooting it in real time. But there was no AI, and that's something that I feel proud about in some degree because it's a lot of work, and somebody will say, well, why can't you just like prompt that? For me, I enjoy the full aspect of the process of animation.
And then this is your second AmDocs. Let's talk about the first one. We spoke last year before you made your debut. What was that experience like, and what did you learn from AmDocs?
Well, let me tell you something. I have been bragging about my experience last year since the event, and it's probably one of the best festival experiences I've had. And what I mean by that is, in our screening block alone, we had I think three Academy Award filmmakers that were in attendance to our screening, and these are people that by all means should have every right to brag and just take off, but they stuck around. Everybody stuck around, everybody talked, and by the end of the week we became like contacts, friends, And that was a community that I've never experienced before. I don't know if it's just with the genre of documentary filmmaking and animation. I don't know if it's just that demographic of filmmaker, but I can tell you that it was such a beautiful experience. The festival is so well run and operated. You have a lot of people that are volunteering. The volunteer staff is phenomenal, and it really makes the filmmaker feel like they're a part of a really great community. So I love the experience, and of course Palm Springs. Come on.
And then with all the other animated filmmakers there, did you guys get a chance to exchange notes, and did anything that you exchanged notes with them help with Empathy Unknown?
Yeah. So what I ended up doing is I met a handful of 3D animators. Unfortunately, the timing I was already I was halfway through the animation when I attended the last AmDocs,
Mhm.
when I premiered my first one, Circuits and Dreams. Um, but I was able to contact and meet up with some, virtually, with some of the other filmmakers that I met there who's doing character rigging, to get some of their feedback in terms of what their process is. And that was it was pretty valuable to me as I was finishing Empathy.
Yeah, I mean, it is a great group, and all credit to Teddy. Teddy's created this festival. He's created not just a festival, a sense of communities where people can communicate, collaborate, and I think it really works wonders.
Yeah,
Um,
fantastic.
let's talk about your day job. We talked about it before, but you are Mr. Las Vegas.
Well,
Uh, you,
Wayne Newton, that's Mr. Las Vegas.
well, I mean, yeah, someone's got to carry the mantle. That's the way I see
He's got better hair than me, let me tell you.
it. So, how long have you been working in Las Vegas, and tell everyone about your studio?
Yeah, well, I've been living in Las Vegas since I was, man, about 3 or 4 years old. I'm 46 now, so I'll let everybody else do the math. But it's been many years. I came here. My parents came here for business, and we stayed. But Las Vegas has been my home, and it's been a great place to do productions. I've been able to make movies and shows and a lot of content here throughout the years. Our production company and studio, Indie Film Factory, has made, I think we've made, well, we're going on our eighth, or no, sorry, we're going on our 10th feature film, and
Wow.
it's actually an animation right now. There's an
Oh,
animated feature that we're working on right now. But nonetheless, yeah, we've been making movies, both in science fiction and in the horror genre for live action films. And I've done 9 live action features.
wow. And then you also work with a lot of the top entertainment brands in Las Vegas. Can you share some of that?
Yeah, well, we do a lot of branded content pieces for, whether it's working with an advertiser who's looking to implement their stuff into television in some kind of a way, or we do commercials. So we've done public service announcements, we've done documentaries, and all the likes of that stuff.
I heard documentaries. You got to make sure you submit those too.
I had one I did on my dad's Vietnam experience. It got nominated for an Emmy, and we didn't win, but it was a good experience nonetheless. And I love documentaries. Let me tell you something. They're harder than animation. I will tell you
Really harder than animation. All right, you have to explain yourself. Why are documentaries harder than animation? I know animation is work intensive, very intensive, but why documentaries harder than that?
documentaries are emotional. And I think you're living with the content. Obviously, if you're doing a documentary on puppies, maybe it's not as difficult. But I think most people gravitate to stories that people aren't talking about. I've done documentaries on the Holocaust. I've done them on Vietnam. I've done them on different things, and those subject matters you have to live with. And those are things that you see a different side of humanity that you may not have wanted to see. Or most people don't see. But that's part of journalism. And I have such a respect for people who do journalism, because they
Mhm.
have to live with the negativity of the world sometimes in order to tell that story, and that's
Yeah.
extremely important.
Yeah, and that's what I love about this festival. And one thing I'm trying to do is trying to bring in more journalists into making documentaries because there's so much downside in journalism. I'd love to see them start taking the opportunities to create documentaries and continue telling stories.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
It's and again, it's something that I always have admired. And you see these people that are, whether they're in a combat zone or they're out in LA reporting on fires. I mean, these are
Yeah.
people that put their lives at risk, and they're there to tell the story. So all of us can comfortably sit in our living rooms and watch it on television. And that's something that, whether it's a documentary or a news magazine, it all falls under, journalistic storytelling.
Now let's talk about a little bit industry. There seems like there's something that might be a big seismic shift in the entertainment world. Um, Warner Brothers Discovery is looking into building studios in your hometown, Las Vegas, and you've actually been involved with the process, trying to get the voters and the politicians to vote for it. Can you talk about your involvement with it and what you think that's going to mean to Las Vegas and actually Californians?
Yeah, well, I've had the privilege to work with Warner Brothers Discovery, kind of indirectly on just kind of creating a conversation with the local community. As a filmmaker who's been here doing movies for decades now, I feel like I got a pulse on the local scene and individuals who are doing things. And I think what they're doing is they're trying to figure out, where the creative aspects lie and people that they can align themselves with as they're starting to make this transition. I think for them, any studio really wanting to come to Nevada makes sense because number one, geographically speaking, we're close to Los Angeles. It's becoming, you talk to anybody in industry and they're like, oh, Atlanta. I mean, Atlanta's a great city, don't get me wrong, but it's a commute, and a lot of talent and a lot of producers and people, they would rather, be able to come and shoot for a weekend and then be back home within a 45-minute flight. So I think to the value proposition is important. The other thing is Nevada has a huge benefit with the way its tax structure is set up here. And I think if they can figure out a way to build a better incentive program with the state, I think, we're going to be able to diversify this economy considerably, and, being a Nevadan, you'll see a lot of people who have moved here recently from California. They talk about just how much their life has improved being here because it's still a very affordable place to live. And I know that may sound, well, when the studios move here, it may get a lot more expensive. But this market's going to continue to grow regardless if the movie industry's here. And my argument to a lot of people who say, oh, it's going to get too expensive. We need diversification in the economy, and so it's going to be I think, a really important thing for Nevada. And I think it'll be a
Mhm.
really cool thing for the studios. And they're going to have a whole new environment to build infrastructure. And that's pretty awesome.
One thing that kind of surprised me when I found this on your social media, so you really educated me on this whole proposition of Time Warner moving to Nevada. But what surprised me is that no one's done it sooner. It seems like it would make a lot of sense. The entertainment capital of the world, having a movie studio, a major movie studio, just seemed to make sense. Why do you think it hadn't happened before, and what's triggered it to make it almost a reality? It's not quite a reality yet, but what's triggered it to make it almost reality now with Time Warner?
Well, there has been a lot of effort in the past to try to do this, and I think there's been interest, to build here. But the thing that's kept a lot of, professional, company studios away has been the fact that we haven't had that strong of a tax incentive and rebate for the film industry. And it's just been within the last, decade that our state film commission and the advocates around have seen the potential that this market can bring. I mean, think about this. If you're a construction person or who's working at a construction lot, you can make about 25 to 30% more income working on a movie set and doing construction builds on a television or a film shoot. So that's a significant benefit to the economy. But I think it's just up until recently, local state politicians and the business leading community has seen this as kind of a huge potential.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of people might be moving. We saw a lot of people just during the pandemic move to Palm Springs when they could work remotely, and then I think having the studios in Las Vegas would see a major change. So Time Warner, you could be part of the DCU, huh?
That's right. That's right. Yeah. I mean, there's always like marriages and divorces happening all the time with these studios, but it's always fascinating. But yeah, it's super cool. And the people behind this, I'll be completely honest. I mean, they have made themselves extremely available to the community. They've dived right in and got right to work, trying to,
Mhm.
to build the bridge, attending events, being present, holding mixers, and in conjunction with UNLV, they're working on building this this kind of training apparatus that's hopefully going to be able to keep young filmmakers in our state. You know, that's the
Hmm.
problem right now is a lot of young filmmakers, they're here, but then they leave because they got to go to LA or a different market in order to do what they want to do. So hopefully from a Nevada standpoint, if that industry's here, they're going to be able to keep a lot of people that would normally have to move away.
Yeah. Well, you're gonna have more competition. Well, actually, no one can compete with you, Kelly. Let's make that
No, let
clear.
me tell you, well, it's funny you say that because, you know, people say, oh, well, what happens? You know, there's going to be more people. First off, in our community in Las Vegas, if there were more than one movie being filmed here in a month, it would wipe everybody out. There's just not enough people to facilitate the amount of crew positions that go into a feature film production. You have that in Los Angeles. You have that to some degree in Georgia. But in Nevada, you don't. So they're going to need to bring in people, and there's going to be plenty of work, I think, for everybody.
Mm. Maybe this is a collaboration with AmDoc. We have a lot of creatives in our Rolodex, so hopefully, maybe we should get together, try to put some of these, give these guys some extra opportunities.
Look, we're desert cousins. We are desert cousins. I feel so comfortable when I'm in Palm Springs because it's like, you know, like a beautiful, beautiful suburb of Las Vegas. I don't know if you want to be considered that because, you know, you guys are your own special thing.
We're a suburb to everyone. Las Vegas, LA, we're a suburb to everyone. And then, let's get back to Palm Springs. What were some of the highlights of AmDocs outside of the festival? I know you got a chance to, I believe you got a chance to explore a little bit while you were here. What were some of those highlights?
The food.
Where are your favorite restaurants?
You know, you're going to call me out on this. I went to an Italian restaurant right on the main street there. I forget what it was so beautiful. It's just this giant Italian restaurant, and you kind of go inside and I'll never forget them pouring us like a chalice of wine. We got like whatever the table wine was, and I thought this is way too much wine for one or two people to be drinking. But it was such a great, you know, food is always impeccable. The weather, it got a little rainy the last day we were there, but I think the weather is beautiful that time of the year. It's
Yeah,
really a
well,
great time to throw a festival in the desert.
I know. Well, we're excited about it. We are the lead in for Coachella.
That's
Uh,
right.
that's right. Well, Kelly, I think that's going to do it for right now. We look forward to welcoming you back to Palm Springs, and we look forward to all the amazing things that you're going to continue to do. And we're really happy to have you as part of the family.
Well, listen, it is a absolute pleasure of mine, and I'm so thankful for the festival and Teddy and all of you who have been so gracious to throw this festival year after year, and of course the inclusion. I mean, it's literally an honor, and I'm so excited to be a part of it again for my second time.
Woohoo! Again, the American Documentary and Animation Film Festival, AmDocs, will be March 27th through 31st at the Palm Springs Cultural Center. We look forward to having you come out, meet Kelly. I'm sure we're going to keep him busy while he comes out here, and it promises to be a great time. Passes are on sale now, and keep your eyes out when you start selling the individual tickets. Kelly, again, great pleasure. Looking forward to seeing you again.
Layden, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.